Hello and welcome to another episode of Ewell Acres. Today we're going to continue on with our Business in Agriculture segment by talking to you how to give some better ideas to better sell your produce during the COVID pandemic. Let's get started. So you're a farmer, you're selling at farmers markets, and you're trying to do the best you can to continue to earn a living during these chaotic COVID pandemic times. And it really throws everything in a loop, and it makes it really hard to figure out how to continue to try and earn a living despite the world completely getting turned upside down. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. And if you like what we're doing, you're liking the material, don't forget to subscribe, click on that thumbs up, bell notifications. That way it does better in the algorithm, and we can continue to give you information to help support us with information like this. So you're at a farmer's market, you're trying to sell products, and people are all trying to keep their distance, stay away from each other, and it's making it really difficult to try and sell stuff. In many parts of the world, where I come from in the United States, there are many places where they've just completely shut down farmers markets, and they just aren't selling at all. Well, in my particular area, I've actually been blessed and lucky enough where farmers markets are still open. Farmers markets have been considered an essential place of business where you can buy produce just like a supermarket, so they're continuing to be open. However, they put special stipulations on us. Some of those being that us as vendors, our tents, rather than being put right up next together, they are actually expanding us 10 feet apart. We need to have special sanitary things in place. We need to be wearing personal protection gear, a mask, washing our hands all the time. That way we can keep things sanitary but yet continue to sell, and it helps to increase the safety for everyone to reduce the risk of passing on that COVID and making the whole situation worse. Now, having said that, there are still things that you can do, both traditional and non-traditional, to help you be a better salesman, to increase those sales, despite the fact that it's a scary time. One of the things that I find it highly important is it's going to be a little bit more difficult wearing that mask if you are out in public doing those type of things, but I would recommend yell at people. Holler out just like the fishmongers in ancient Rome, or even Aladdin. They're going, "Fish, fresh fish, come get your fresh fish." Even with a mask on covering your face, that's going to muffle your voice. People are going to be walking, they're not going to want to stand in lines, and even if there are long lines and other people, they're going to tend to ignore your own stand. So by saying, "Hey, come check out my produce," have a direct line of sight looking at them and beckon them to come. Encourage them to come check out your produce, check out your honey, whatever goods it is that you sell. Encourage them to come over, so that way it invites them to come and purchase, take a look at your products. By doing that, it's going to increase your foot traffic, which then is going to increase your overall sales. One other thing that I would recommend is have good clothing. You want to look the part of a farmer within that farmer side. I like to call it farmer chic. So if you look now, I'm wearing a plaid shirt. Yes, I do have facial hair, but I keep it nice and trimmed. I look presentable. I'm in a fashion that doesn't look like I'm grungy, dirty. I haven't been wallowing in the mud. Yes, I may have been harvesting a whole bunch of produce earlier that day, but I change out of my grunge clothes, I shower, I get good hygiene, I put on some deodorant, if I need to, comb my hair, if I'm putting on a hat, I just look presentable and in a fashion that is going to deem that I am in a good, clean, sanitary manner. If you look dirty, if you smell dirty, if you just have that grungy vibe about you, it's going to put off another psyche that says, you know what? If this is how the person has in personal hygiene, what does their produce look like? If that's how he takes care of himself, their produce must be bad. So by looking at how the individual looks, they're going to assume the product itself has bad as well, and they're going to pass you over, and it's going to greatly hurt your bottom line because you're not able to sell as much. Have good hygiene, have good presentation, and dress for the environment that you're doing. You can be as clean-cut, nice, neat possible wearing a 3-tuck suit as a smellier in a Michelin star restaurant. That's not where that getup belongs. Dress for the environment that you're in. You don't want to overdress, you don't want to underdress, you want to go where it is. Along that same guidelines in dealing with clothing, a lot of times you're still going to be outside, it's going to be sunny, it's going to be hot, and you're going to want to wear sunglasses to help keep that glare out of your eyes so you can talk with people. Don't do it. Do not wear sunglasses under any circumstances. By having that eye contact when you're yelling at people, hey, come check out my products, they're really good, high quality, you should really become interested, whatever your sales pitch is, to yell at them, like the fishmongers, to come check out your wares. By having those sunglasses on, I've actually seen many cases, even myself when I was first starting out, where I wore sunglasses because it was really bright sunny, because I live out in the West Desert, triple digits. It gets sunny. It gets hot. I'm over here yelling, hey, come check out my herbs. I have some really great high quality herbs that will go great with that nice piece of lamb that you just purchased from that meat guy. Notice what they've got. I'm trying to bring them in, say, I've got some really great fresh rosemary. I've got some really great fresh basil. Come check it out. Well, they assume that even though I'm facing them, staring right at them, talking to them, they're going to assume I'm talking to this dude over here because I have sunglasses on and they can't see where I'm looking with my eyes, even though my head and face is directly staring at them. By having eyes directly pointed at the person, they say, oh, you are talking to me personally, and I can engage them. So have the eyes, window of the soul, so that way you can engage people and talk to them. The mask covers up the entire face during this pandemic. All you have showing is your eyes. That is the best way you can say, hey, look it, I'm directly showing at you. When you have your entire face covered, the eyes are all you've got left to engage your customer and bring them over. Use what you've got. You don't want to have your sunglasses viewed here, so you're kind of staring at like this, and it's even more closed off. You want to try and be open as much as possible, and that will allow you to it by not wearing sunglasses. One other thing that I would recommend during this time is you're going to get tired, you're going to want to eat, you're trying to engage with people. Now, the mask will hide a lot of this, but you're still going to potentially have some bad breath or other indications from your drink. You're trying to do it because you're getting tired. There's long 10, 12-hour days. Well, take a breath mint. Sometimes that mask is not going to cover everything. I have had some guys that have been drinking coffee where that coffee breath is just overpowering the mask and knocking people left and right. They have such a bad breath that people are actually avoiding the stand because they've gotten a reputation as having horrible breath. Have a small packet of mints, toss one in the back corner, that way you can continue to talk to people while you have that good breath. It's just going to increase the overall success that you have as you're trying to work on it. Now, in continuing on that with that process of having good hygiene, having the clothes, having a good presentation, you want to physically be present at your stand. Now, that might seem really weird as a salesman to say, be present at your stand. Well, your physical body may be there, your mind may be there, but you're not actively physically engaged. The fishmonger, he's actively engaged. He's at the front of the stall. He's saying, hey, come check out my wares. Come on over here. Whatever sales pitch it is that you're using to try and invite them in. There are actually some guys at my farmer's market that don't do that. There's one guy he sells really good, high quality beef, jerky, different cuts of meat that he has that he raises on his farm. I've actually seen this guy take a chair, 4 legs, lean it up the side of his truck that he's got his freezer, really nice setup, and he tips his hat and just kind of sits there and lets people pass on by. He is not actively engaged at all. I've actually seen some people ignore him altogether, and he's actually fallen asleep. You can hear him snore from the other side of the walkway. If you aren't, I've seen some guys, they're leaning up at the back, they're leaning up against the thing, they've got their arms folded, and they're just kind of saying, oh, this sucks, why am I here? I'm not getting any people to come at my farmer stand. Well, that posture is very off-putting. You're saying, go away, I don't want to be sick during this pandemic. Ugh. Be engaging. You can come forward and say, hey, how you doing? Good to see ya. And you can still keep that 6 feet distance, but be engaged. Be at the front of the stand. Have a smile in your voice and talk to them. Don't put people off by not being engaged or physically there while you're talking. That can go on a long way to help encourage you to be a better salesman during this pandemic time. Do things that will help you to be more comfortable so that way you can last longer. Most of us will actually go to, like, say, Walmart, some other big box store, and we'll grab some foam mats. I've seen some guys, they'll go to Home Depot or whatever your big box store is that you've got close by, buy standing mats so they're physically standing on a foam mat so they're not directly standing on concrete. It's going to be much softer on the soles of their feet, their knees. It's not as aggravating for 8-10 hours a day. When the crowds lessen and they get a chance, they'll sit down, rest for 5 minutes. Now, there is something completely different between sitting down for 5 minutes, relaxing, taking a drink of water because you're tired, doing very quick things like that to quickly rehydrate and increase your endurance. If you're getting hungry, have a sandwich that you have in a cooler off. Go off, take a quick bite or two, finish eating, and then continue on with trying to sell. You are there to make money. You're not there to have a feast. You are not there to get together and be friends. You can still have fun, but you're there to make money. Do things that are going to increase your endurance and encourage people to come and talk to. If you're in the back corner chowing on a 4-foot sub and you're just going to town on it and you're not engaging anyone whatsoever, you're not likely to get as many customers. So if you got a big 4-foot sandwich, cool. That will last you 10 hours. Go back, take a bite or two, finish it off, and then continue on. The other thing that's important is your produce. How is it laid out? During normal times, you want to have good, high-quality produce that looks healthy. It's not rotting. It's going to be of high quality. During this high pandemic time, people are even more concerned about food safety. They're concerned about a lot of distance. So there are things that you can do to encourage the safety of your produce. I know there's a lot of people that don't like wasting plastic. There's a lot of people that don't like those reusable bags because it just creates waste. It hurts the environment. I understand that. I try myself, if I'm able to use recycle some of those things. However, especially during this pandemic time when you've got a lot of public safety concerns, if you have a type of product or produce where it is appropriate, stick them in protective bags. What do I mean by that? Let's say you've got a head of lettuce or some other items that are just open air. Well, go ahead and stick that in a Ziploc bag. Take it in one of those cling wrap, small, easily cheap throwaway bags. For me, I've got microgreens. I've got some small sunflowers that are very easily able to get scattered, and it could potentially seem as not as sanitary. So I actually have been starting to package all of my salad mixes in clamshells. I have small clamshells. I have big clamshells. That way, it keeps things nice and sanitary. Even if people come over, pick up the product, look at it, and then set it back down, they're not going to be as concerned as someone else coming and poking every little single piece of lettuce head trying to figure out is this sanitary or not. It's in a clamshell. It helps to maintain that food quality. And one other thing that I would recommend to help you be a better salesman is get to know your other vendors. Have them become friends. So that way, when you have a product that you're trying to sell, most likely you're not going to have every single thing that someone's looking for. Most likely another vendor that you're working with is not going to have every single product that they're looking for. I myself sell leafy greens, some honey, and herbs. I have other vendors that have become my friends that sell beef, lamb, chicken, eggs, different cuts of meat. We all focus and specialize on different products, and that makes us successful as a farmer's market to better share it. So I've actually had many people come up and say, hey, I'm looking for some meats or I'm looking for eggs. Does it look like I sell eggs? No, but I'm not going to tell the person, hey, I don't sell any eggs. That's a stupid question. I actually say, you know what? I'm sorry, I don't have any eggs. But if you are looking for eggs, I've got my really good friend, this guy over here across the way. He actually has some really great high quality, free range eggs that are very delicious. And if you like, I actually have some basil, I have some rosemary here that makes a really delicious omelet. And if you're looking for a little bit of protein to add those eggs, my other good friend over here has some really great cuts of ham or steak that you can add to those omelets to make some really delicious things. I've got some other guys that sell really great cuts of meat that are grass-fed, beef, other items that are really great high quality. They'll say, well, what can I use to season this? And they'll actually direct those people over to me and say, you know what? Over there at Ewell Acres, they have really great high quality herbs. And then I'll show them my basil, I'll show them my rosemary, and we can work with each other by recommending each other's products to each other and overall help to build each other's sales. Become friends with your vendors. Not only will they help to look out for each other in sending you more business, but let's say you're having an emergency, you got to go run to the bathroom real quick because you've been there for 6 hours. You turn to your buddy and say, hey, dude, I got to go to the bathroom really quick. Can you watch my stand for a minute? Why, sure, I would love to. They're watching your stand, you get a quick bathroom break, or if you have to, you can go get a quick bite to eat really quick from that food truck down, or whatever else you got going on. And likewise, they'll do that to you. Many times, we actually have a pact with some of our friends that says, hey, I'll watch your stand, you watch my stand, make certain nothing gets stolen, and we'll actually refer business back to each other. Make friends with each other, especially during this pandemic time. It will really help to encourage you to grow together. So those are just a few items that we talked about to help encourage you to be more successful during this pandemic time. You need to wear masks, you need to have your washing station, all those other items makes it really difficult to try and sell underneath normal times, much less during this pandemic time. One key factor that seems really simple that I have found actually has increased my foot traffic. What I'll do is I'll go down to my local big box store and I will buy a giant gallon jug of hand sanitizer. I set that right on the corner of my table and I say sanitizing station. I've got a little sign that says sanitizing station. People will see that from 100 feet away and they go, sweet. They'll walk right up and go, hey, do you mind if I just grab a squirt? By all means. Have a squirt. Let's try and help keep each other safe. And they'll grab some hand sanitizer and rub down. And while they're there talking, I'm able to then engage them and say, oh, what is it that you sell? And then at that point, I will start to sell them produce. It helps to draw people in. Have a wash station. Have a sanitizer station to help bring people in. To help encourage a little bit more foot traffic. That jug of sanitizer may have cost me $30 to set up that gallon jug, however large it is, but it increases the overall foot traffic because I provide a service for free, which makes me much more approachable. These are some of the things that I have found to make you and me a much more successful salesman during these COVID pandemic times. If you like what we're doing, the content that we're given, don't forget to subscribe, click on that ringing bell notification, give us a thumbs up. It really helps out in the algorithm, and you can continue to gain more information like this because we've got new videos coming out all the time. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.